Good afternoon and welcome to your main newscast on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. My name is Joshua Van Slegman and these are the top stories we're tracking. Neighbor finds Tuition businessman dead, bound and gagged on his bed. ExxonMobil's Yellowtail project to produce 450 million standard cubic feet of gas per day. Chinese company bidding for new harbor bridge were blacklisted by World Bank for corrupt practices. Neighbor finds pensioner decomposed body in home. $1 billion Sheriff Street Mandela Road project now delayed by rain, according to Minister Edgell. And CDB has not provided any fossil fuel lending in 3 years. Stay tuned to stay informed.
Weak systems of governance and the absence of the rule of law both
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us with your Monday news. That should be your Monday, October 25th news at noon. My name is Joshua Van Slegman. Thank you for joining us. If it receives the blessings of the PPPC government, ExxonMobil's fourth oil project in the Stabroek block is poised to generate 450 million standard cubic feet of gas per day by 2025 to 2026. This is 9 times the volume of gas that will be brought onshore via the imminent 900 million gas-to-shore project, which will feed off the combined resources of the ExxonMobil-led Liza Phase 1 and 2 projects. The foregoing was outlined in ExxonMobil's environmental impact assessment on Yellowtail. In that report, ExxonMobil explained that the project, which would be supported by resources from the Yellowtail and Redtail fields in the Stabroek block, will produce materials, quantities of associated gas. It said a key use for this associated gas is for fuel in gas turbines for power generation on the FPSO vessel. It noted that gas not used as fuel will then be available for alternative uses, and ExxonMobil went on to explain that 3 primary alternatives considered for the use of associated gas include flaring, re-injection, and export. In support of regional decarbonization efforts, the Caribbean Development Bank disclosed that it has not provided any fossil fuel lending over the last 3 years. The financial institution recently disclosed that it intends to further reinforce its support for sustainable energy through its revised energy sector policy and a strategy currently under development. The CDB made this foregoing revelation last week as part of its commentary regarding its alignment with the Paris Agreement, which seeks to bring global temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius. The bank was keen to note that it benefits that mobilization and effective use of climate finances is of paramount importance to a decarbonized region. With this in mind, the financial institution disclosed that it has made significant strides in financing projects and programs of its borrowing member countries so as to deliver on their Paris Agreement commitments. Here in Kaieteur Radio 99.1, 99.5 FM, and this is your main newscast. Police in Region 3 has launched an investigation into the death of a 59-year-old businessman who was found bound and gagged in his bed by one of his neighbors at his tuition housing scheme yesterday. The businessman, an amputee identified as Keith Richards, also known as One Foot, was found lifeless around 6 hours 39 yesterday. According to police report, he lived alone at a small concrete grocery shop at the front of his house and was last seen by his neighbor sometime around 18 hours 40 on Saturday. Then they reported to detectives that around that time, she saw the businessman sitting on his front veranda. The Chinese company, which are the lone bidders vying for the contract to design and build a new Demerara Harbour Bridge, a project which falls under the Ministry of Public Works, were once blacklisted by the World Bank for corrupt practices. The companies in question are the China State Construction Engineering Corporation, China Road and Bridge Corporation, a joint venture with Putas Infrastructural SLU, China Group Company Limited, and joint venture partners China Railway Construction Limited and China Railway Construction Corporation Limited, and the China Railway Construction Bridge Engineering Bureau Group of Corporations Limited. These Chinese-owned firms were among 9 international companies pre-qualified by the government back in March to bid for the construction of the new bridge. Minister of Public Infrastructure Bishop Wan Ejil is now saying that the completion of the $1 billion Sheriff Street Mandela Avenue Road project might be delayed way longer than expected by the rainy weather. He made this statement on Saturday during an inspection he made of the works that were done. About a week ago, Ejil had told another section of the media that the Chinese company working on the project will not be able to meet the October 31 deadline because of shipping delays. He had said that the project was almost complete and that the company is waiting on materials to install traffic signals and poles for the traffic sign, but it is having shipping delays. The body of a pensioner was found decomposed in his Region 10 home on Sunday. The dead man has been identified as a 73-year-old of Wisma-Linden. According to a police report, the discovery was made sometime around 6 hours 30. Tudor resides alone with his sister, who lives at Block 22 Wisma-Linden, and she last saw her brother on Wednesday around 16 hours when he complained of feeling unwell. She then checked his pressure and observed seemed to be very high. As a result, she told Tudor to lay down, which he did, and after some time, he claimed he felt better. He then left for his home. The body was examined, but due to the state of decomposition, no marks of violence were seen. The deceased home was searched and nothing appeared to be disturbed. And finally, before we wrap things up here this morning, let's turn our attention to the page 7 of the Kaieteur News that is dedicated of being blunt. ExxonMobil has disclosed that its Yellowtail project will cost $9 billion or 1.8 trillion Guyana dollars. In the absence of provisions such as those which deal with ring fencing in the Stabroek Block deal, that investment spells a frightening tale for Guyana. In simple terms, ExxonMobil will be able to make the oil pie smaller and smaller to share. In other words, Guyana will get a smaller take of the crumbs it is already getting. When will we wake up and renegotiate the Stabroek Block deal to get what we deserve? And it is time for your COVID-19 updates. A fully vaccinated 91-year-old man from Region 4 who contracted COVID-19 is the country's latest COVID-19 fatality. As a result of this, the country's COVID-19 death toll has moved to 895. Meanwhile, 90 new infections were recorded, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 35,067. Out of the number of confirmed cases, 18,486 persons are women, while 16,581 are men. Presently, there are 19 patients who are admitted in the ICU, 102 persons in institutional isolation, 3,451 in home isolation, and 3 in institutional quarantine. To date, a total of 30,600 recoveries have been recorded.